Hey there guys, it's Astron here, and we're back with another video. This one is something I've not done yet, but I hope to do more of. Today we're going to be covering how to install Optifine. I know it's been done a million times before, but I thought I'd put my own little, detailed spin on it. Big shout out to my friend Ghost, who actually prompted me to do this, because he was having a little bit of difficulties understanding how to do it. So big shout out to him. So we're gonna go ahead and get started here, without any further ado. Now, first thing, obviously, I want to go ahead and open your Minecraft launcher. Mine opens on my second display, and I have yet to figure out why. So, to get started, you're gonna go ahead and go to the Installations tab. And you're gonna hit at the top here, New Installation. And you're going to select if you're doing 1.18.2. It should be the first thing. You're watching this as of the 4th. As of the 28th of April this year. So, we're going to name it as such, for sake of simplicity. Now, if you have, and we're going to do this in the actual Optifine installation. If you have more RAM, you're going to want to give it more. So I'll cover that when we get to it. You can just leave it that way for now. I'm going to select this so we can quickly identify it. You can select an icon, you don't have to. Completely optional. We're going to hit create. You're going to come back to the play tab. Hit your drop down. If you have one, you might not. If you did a fresh install of the game, I have a lot of stuff going on. You're gonna select it, and you're gonna hit play. Now, this is very important when you go to install Optifine, because when you download the game and you run it for the first time, for that version, it will create the required libraries to run the game. Some of those libraries Optifine actually uses. So that's why we do this. Right. Once you've downloaded and run your version of the game that you want to do this for once, you can actually, once you hit the main menu, hit quit game. You don't need to do anything else at all. You just hit quit game. Now, second most important thing, and in fact, the most important thing in the entire process, if you don't want to confuse yourself, close your launcher before you do anything else. Now, go ahead and open your browser of choice. For me, it's Google Chrome. And we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to go to optifine.net/downloads. I've already gone ahead and done it ahead of time. And you're going to download it for whichever version of the game that you need. In my case, it was 1.18.2. For you, it might be different, and you might have to hit show all versions. But go ahead and download that. And let me show you real fast. If I do this again, I don't need to, but I'll show you. You're going to wait for about 5 to 10 seconds. Don't do anything in where this white box is. I have an ad blocker, so there's nothing there. For you, there's going to be a fake download thing. You're going to come up to the top right hand corner after that 5 to 10 seconds and hit skip. And then you'll hit download. I don't need to, because I've already done it. Now, if you've gotten to this point and you don't already have Java installed, do it now. I'll have links in the description to both of these things, so you don't have to do that. So you don't have to go find it. And when you get to this page, you're gonna hit agree and start free download. And then go ahead and install that before you install Optifine. Otherwise, it will not run the installer. So go ahead and do that. Once you have both Java installed and Optifine downloaded, you're going to double click your Optifine file you downloaded and hit install. You should be greeted with this lovely Optifine successfully installed. That means it's done. You're going to hit OK. It'll close itself. Then you'll go ahead and reopen your launcher. Now, the reason why I emphasized that it's one of the most important parts of the process is because when you install Optifine, it likes to try and create a nice, fancy little pre-made installation for you. You don't have to do it yourself. Now, I'm still going to show you by hitting Edit. You're going to want to find your Optifine version you just installed. So, look for whatever version you downloaded. Just select that. You'll enter whatever name you like. I'm going to rename this. Now, I mentioned earlier that depending on how much RAM you have in your system, you want to give your game more. If you have 4 gigs of RAM in your system, you'll leave it just the way it is. If you have 8 gigs of RAM, you'll want to give it 4 by changing the 2 to a 4 in the very front there. If you have 16 gigs of RAM, we'll give it about 6. And if you have more than that, you can give it 8 or more. 8's probably about the practical amount. In my case, since you guys probably have about 8 gigs of RAM in your system, or around 16 for the people that play this game, you'll probably want about between 4 and 6, for most of you probably 4. We're gonna hit save on that, and then you can load up the game. Now you'll be greeted, if it's the first time loading this version that you just installed, it'll warn you about modded versions of the game and the potential risks. Just go ahead and hit, I understand the risks, don't warn me again about this installation, and then hit play. This is safe, totally fine, it's been done millions of times. And we'll go ahead and load up a game. I have a custom resource pack that I'm working on, so mine looks a little bit different than you guys. So we'll go ahead and let this load up. Didn't take too long, as we've given it a bit of an FPS boost. Alright, so once you're in the main menu, you might want to go to your options and go to your video settings. Now, in here, what you're going to want to change is a few performance settings. Give yourself the most bang for your buck. So go ahead and go to the performance button here in the bottom right. And if you have a dedicated graphics card, you can turn on render regions. I prefer to not have it. It provides a little bit of inconsistency for me. So go ahead and hit fast render, smart animations, fast math, smooth FPS, smooth world, and if you're on 1.18, use the threaded chunk builder if you have a 4-core processor or better. Which you should be running anyway if you are running this game. I use threaded anyway because it's going to provide you the best performance. It really depends. But for the sake of this, we're going to leave it the way it is at threaded. Now, if you prefer your chunks to load faster, you can increase this option. If you don't care about how fast they load and just care about your performance, you can turn this to a lower number, say like 1 or 2. I have mine on 3. You can hit done once you have all that. We'll move over to the details tab. Now, if you have a little bit more of a potato, and say you don't have a dedicated graphics card, a couple things you can do are I have fancy, I was on smart. You can change it to, this will give you the best chance, and you can change basically anything. If it has a fast option, do that. It'll help you out if you have a bit of a potato. And another thing you can do is also turn this way down to probably about 3 or 5, or if you have a real potato, turn it off. I have it maximum. Next thing you can do is go to your quality section. Now, if you're not using a resource pack, you probably don't want to have this on, connected textures. But if you do, and you have a bit more of a potato, but can run it really well, go ahead and hit fast. And if you hit it, it's gonna reload, so be prepared for that. I use fancy. I have to hit it a couple times here, because it turned off. Alright. So, another thing you can do is also change your distortion effects. Turn them down to help you run up a little bit better. Now, distortion effects affect things like portals. Really about it. Or potion effects. Say you have nausea. FLV effects, that's for things like when you sprint. You can also turn anti-aliasing off or turn down your bitmaps or whatever. You can kind of play around in here and figure out what works best for you. But more often than not, either off or fast is going to be the best bet if you're looking for the most performance. Now, one thing I also recommend is turning advanced tooltips on. It's a nice little thing. It's so nice. And then show FPS is something you can do. You don't have to. It can give you an idea of how much better you're running, instead of having to hit F3 every time. And then that's more or less it. Yep. And then, of course, you're going to want to test and see how well it runs. So go ahead and create yourself a new world if you haven't. There we go. There you have now learned how to install Optifine. So again, if you guys do like what I do here on this channel and would like to support me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell for notifications, as it helps me and the channel quite a lot. And yeah, I will catch you all in the next one. And as always, reach for the stars. Bye.
What an irony. My mirror shows the other side of me. All these ones and zeros, nothing in between. But there's so much more to me than eyes can see. Than eyes can see. I'm not by